This is Wandering Universe. Today, we're going back where civilization began by introducing a few ancient relics that once conquered the fertile frontier. So, let's go exploring. Ancient India was one of the mystifying wonders of ancient past. Whilst British explorers scoured the landscape in search of ancient lost cities during the 19th century, a number of abandoned relics left forgotten have been reclaimed as tourist attractions, an opportunity for explorers and archaeologists to let their hair down exploring new territory of ancient India's flourishing past. Many of these relics derived from the early Harappan and Mesolithic period, a civilization that prospered without a centralized power structure with no top dog calling the shots. Sounds too good to be true? Well, let's find out. So, sit back and relax while we go on an exciting adventure of ancient India's lost cities. The mainland of India is nestled between three continents: China, Russia, and Eastern Europe. Its neighbouring cousin, Sri Lanka, lies at the base of a triangular peak pointing towards the Indian Ocean. India's history goes a long way back to the Indus Valley, along with its famous river along the northern region that borders with Pakistan. Pakistan was once part of ancient India. The continent is located between the Arabian Sea and Southeast Asian continents, bordering with Tibet, China, and Eastern Europe. In the last ice age, India was part of the great ancient Siberian landmass, covering the entire northern hemisphere. Once upon a time, India's coastal edge elongated a wider girth from Kerala to Karachi in southern Pakistan. A submerged landmass bridge once connected southern India to Sri Lanka during the last ice age. The Indus Valley civilization evolved from various tribes migrated from the north and central regions of ancient Siberia, mostly hunter-gatherers wandering the plains in search of fertile grounds. Before the advent of British explorers, ancient Siberian nomads were the first to rediscover ancient relics in vast parts of India. These ghost town settlements were left abandoned thousands of years earlier and made use of these relics by cultivating an agricultural society into a prospering township. The states of Gujarat, Rajasthan, and Punjab, several riverbanks served these ancient sites for irrigation and fresh drinking water. Around 50,000 years ago, large lakes emerged along with streams and rivers that watered the fertile plains. Although this region is an arid wasteland today, around 50,000 years ago, it was a very luscious tropical paradise. The Harappan civilization was a major contributor to these ancient sites within northern India and today's Pakistan. These ruins date back to the Bronze Age around 6000 BC. The Harappan civilization stems its early roots in Megara, Birrana, Dholavira, Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. All were dated between 7000 to 2800 BC, designated near the Indus Valley River system. Archaeologists determined these sites thrived by trading with other neighbouring partners thanks to the river systems canyoned from the Himalayas in Nepal and Tibet. The city of Mohenjo-daro in Pakistan is located near the Indus River. The city of Mughal in Pakistan is located near the Bolan River. The city of Birrana in northern India is located near the Gorakhpur River. The ancient city of Harappan in Pakistan is located near the Ravi River. Most of the ancient settlements were made with flat, rectangular-shaped mud bricks that hardened over the centuries, stacked neatly in a uniform square-shaped manner. These sites shared a common building practice, a gridlock pattern that was standard practice throughout the region. Square, rectangular with round wells, stairs, platforms, plazas and circular mound citadels, except in Lothal exhibits solid stone brick walls. In Harappa shows right-angle triangular-shaped foundations with flat-top surfaces. Most of these early ruins suggest early civilization around 7000 BC onwards developed a writing system, drainage network and urbanization supported by a decentralised social and economic infrastructure. What makes these ancient ruins so compelling? They were built to align to the constellations. The celestial equator crosses over these settlements that line up with the Giza pyramids and Xi'an in China. Whoever built these ancient townships had prior knowledge of astronomy and geometry. Hunter-gatherers and nomadic dwellers had no knowledge of geometric engineering, laws of physics, architecture, property development, and mathematics for sophisticated town planning. They simply stumbled upon them and settled. It is rumoured these sites were built on top of much older foundations. The Bhimbetka caves dates back to the beginning of the South Asian Stone Age. They are 700,000 years old. These rock paintings date back to 30,000 years old. The auditorium rock features a handprint of a child, and the Bhimbetka Kuldevi temple traces back to early humans settled in rock shelters. Early humans were slowly progressing while surviving in the wild. By that stage, early human brain development was not capable of learning superior technology for town planning and building construction. The sudden decline of the Indus civilization remains unclear, but one theory stands above the rest. The arid regions in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and the Himalayas were tectonic plates wedged and fused a line of volcanoes along the plateau between China, Tibet, and northern India. If the Indus Valley civilization did come to an abrupt end, its major cause would have been sudden earthquakes and volcanic eruptions that created the Himalayas over the thousands of years. There are many fault lines that diverted rivers from northern India to the Indus Valley. Even a centimetre shift can alter the river's course. These plates, the Eurasian and Indo-Australian plate moves 15 centimetres per year for 70 million years. And they are still moving today, which can cause sudden and unexpected earthquakes. The Rig Veda, the Vedas, and the Mahabharata and many ancient Indian texts were written thousands of years after the last ice age. Written in Vedic Sanskrit, a language spoken by the Indian Aryan tribes from ancient Siberia, attest to the development of powerful and rich civilizations in India. These written texts were never a true testimony. It is not a reliable eyewitness account. In fact, there are no written records of any early civilizations prior to 2nd millennium BC. The ancient Indian texts claim credit for grand-scale building projects such as Madhya Pradesh, Dwarka, Tamil Nadu, Nalanda, and many more. How is it possible they had prior knowledge of geometric engineering, laws of physics, and astronomy to construct these pyramidal towers? Were they deeply interested in pyramidal design? Were they competing against the Giza pyramids or imitating them? The nodules at the apex of these pyramidal towers suggest that a copper lightning rod was inserted for conduction of energy. 6,000 years ago, early humans learnt the craft of stonework using primitive tools for building small structures. Knowledge and talent for the craft grew as they acquired knowledge of building techniques to go for bigger and better structures. It also required the use of geometry to create more complex shapes and designs. No sophisticated construction tools of any kind, identity of property developers, builders, town planners, architects, and blueprint were ever found in India. Archaeologists are still stumped that these early settlements were built along the celestial equator. There is no hard evidence to suggest that early humans were capable of building sophisticated urban cities. This leaves them dumbfounded. There are too many assumptions, leaving room for doubt that us humans did daredevil feats of engineering during the Mesolithic period. So, why are we taking credit for something we did not do? Ancient India introduced early humans to abandoned settlements that have withstood the test of time. The ancient Indian texts were written 4,000 years ago, around the same time as the Giza pyramids were being built. How is it possible these texts claim they had advanced knowledge of pyramidal, circular, and grid design construction? Did the ancient Indians had an insatiable thirst for this complex knowledge? There is no substantial evidence to support the written doctrine and awareness of the celestial equator and its star alignment. If the pre-ancient beings had foreknowledge capabilities to construct marvellous buildings, it is certainly by no means attributed to superstitious dogma. These buildings functioned for an entirely different purpose other than how they are used today. These rock paintings at the Bhimbetka caves is the only solid evidence that states early humans had no prior knowledge of complex geometric engineering for town planning. Therefore, these early ancient ruins have left significant clues that lead to a much earlier species that settled along the Indus River during the last ice age. Question is, who were they? Over time, I'll be researching further into ancient India's elaborate buildings, which may point the finger as to whom actually built them. In the next video, I'll be looking into extraordinary UFO encounters of the third kind from eyewitness accounts. That's all for now.